projects discussing distortion, ugliness. Here too we have an artist who operates the distortion over reality, right? Who's modifying reality in a way that could be compared to Cézanne. However, the way he does that is very different. So, in what way is Van Gogh altering reality? Where is he intervening? How would you describe the way he modifies things?
Was that a question?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
That was a question?
Yes.
Can you say it again, please?
In what way is Van Gogh modifying reality? In what way is he
accentuating
operating
different
a
things.
distortion? Let's say.
He's accentuating different things.
He's accentuating what?
Different parts that he relates to.
Okay, so it becomes clear that what he represents is not things the way they are, but is actually altering, right? Certain aspect. What aspect is he?
Well, the hills are real blue, and that's not a typical color.
Okay, so the colors are altered in this case. This is quite anomalous within Van Gogh's work. Usually he plays with the complementary colors, right? Usually you have red and green juxtaposed, or violet and yellow, blue and yellow. Here you see that he plays with cold hues, so it's blues and greens that are juxtaposed, with the only exception of this cloud. Actually, if you cover that cloud, it becomes very opaque, right? This cloud, which is yellowish, by contrast, creates a sense of electricity in the work, right? But definitely, he's changing the color of things, right? Later, we can discuss why or what is the effect of that. What else is he changing?
He's exaggerating the twistedness of things and the kind of swirls that you find in one thing go through all the, everything is in swirls and turned in on itself and curved.
Right. So
Brushed through.
So he's using what is like his signature mark, this undulating brushstroke, and he's exaggerating. I mean, of course, as you were implying, the olive tree is a tree that, by in nature, is twisted. However, he's exaggerating that, and I mean, he's choosing the olive tree for a reason, but also he's turning everything into this kind of undulating thing. Even the mountains or the ground, right? So everything looks like it's in motion. The mountains supposedly are static, are solid, but here they look like waves. Or the ground also look like it's. There is a recurrent theme in his letters to his brother Theo was an art dealer living in Paris and was the only person supporting him. Morally, but also economically, and in his letter to his brother Vincent would talk about the cosmos as a breathing organism, where everything is alive, everything belongs to this living thing. Yeah.
Well, he's also implying that everything is connected more than we might usually perceive it.
That's a great point, and that idea of connectedness is really key in the sense that not only everything is connected within the work, but also it's the observer that is connected. In what way is the observer here made connected by Van Gogh? What is our role as viewers? Interesting. So we, with our eyes, you said we do this kind of, we retrace a movement that is the movement of this kind of living thing that we have described, but also we are following the gesture of the artist. So the Impressionists already had introduced the idea of the visible brush, right? Before that, a good artist was not supposed to show you the hand of the artist, right? Would make perfectly smooth passages of chiaroscuro. But here, Van Gogh is exaggerating that idea of making the process of painting visible, and we, he's painting with the palette knife, sometimes he's using directly the tube of paint, so we can follow every single gesture that the artist is making. And this becomes really the physical link between the artist in the studio, and here we are in New York in 2015, but we can retrace those movements. We can say that from here to Jackson Pollock there is a direct link, right? Jackson Pollock later would eliminate anything recognizable, and what you have is actually being able to retrace that kind of movements around the canvas. But already you have that here. So in that sense, there is another level of creating a connection, not only within what is represented, but also with the viewer. So here we can say two important things that are very influential, especially on what would happen later in the 20th century. One, the idea that there is no such a thing as the way things are, but rather everything is filtered through the subjective interpretation of the viewer. So here, Van Gogh is like showing us somehow his own interpretation, and this is made clear, right? There is no claim of objectivity here. And two, the idea that through the distortion, by changing the colors, by changing the shape of things, Van Gogh is somehow creating a bridge or trying to find a moment of connection between his own experience and what we see. Of course, if each one of us perceives things differently, it becomes impossible to share experience, and he's really fighting to break that boundary. So in both ways, in both works, Cézanne and Van Gogh, they are both modifying reality, but we can say that if Cézanne starts this kind of deconstruction of the system, the language of painting and how things can be understood and represented, Van Gogh starts that tradition later called expressionism, so where everything is filtered through the emotional state of the artist in order to express the unique interpretation or the unique perception of things that he's having. So now if we walk to the next room, to the room of Cubism, we'll see some of the consequences of this in the early 20th century. Any question before we continue? Okay, go. This is your card.
I am. I would